Order for your mark by better so like over commenting. Don't subscribe to our channel now. 2024 election no ansana ebedu so no yan John Dramani Mahama yan president a so she Bobby say oba E-Levy ene betting tax no wetimi eye fo ama mebo no se na be ya youth no ene beje a wetimi atwa won bet ana sa wetimi be ye wo momo na won so woni agene no ena obetena so no Ghana fo ahwe nim din se nka eja betting tax ide E-Levy kana nka umi anka betting tax de wetimi ascribe ifo na sifa youth hwe mpatakunu ma say aye bedding adema because you see IMF for betima land Ghana this weekend no ba eni nyina gina budget say what present na what the 2025 year no na no na wo hwe profit betting tax in E-Levy the more minor NDC for one timi in yisa E-Levy and as a betting tax no enforce because you share niama Ghana for yedika nesika Ghana for nya de abo minor saa niama ni nyina betima aboa ama man no esika sem atimi esiye na you share ensem a ekokoso ya na che say out forcing aso be hie pa because you see na so ultimate keka niama bobom ye say na be ya 2025 yen budget no obetimi ade abana Ghana for ultimate approve amano na you share betting tax ni E-Levy Ghana for nso ni ida ho a na end is for nso ho akire ho a say akoye nsem bebre na ayi my fuso beba na ya akohwe emu nsem nyina na eba ede aka na betam so.
By the IMF team is coming at a time that Ghana is getting ready for the next round of program engagement later this year. That fourth review Joy Business understands will be based on the fiscal data of the country ending December 2024. However, for this particular visit, which is not a review mission engagement, but will be purely based on the economy. This is because this administration has talked about resetting the economy. Therefore, the IMF wants to understand how this will be done and its impact on the broader IMF program. The team would also want to get some update on the 2025 budget, which should be presented to Parliament next month. This is because whatever policy measures that government will announce should be in line with the broader IMF program. Another issue that would come up strongly during the 5-day visit with the progress that Ghana has made on restructuring its debt with external creditors and how it is planning to complete the process when it comes to engaging the commercial creditors. The fund would also be looking forward to see how government will be planning to fill the more than 10 billion cedis revenue hole that will be created when Finance Minister Dr. Akuffo Addo goes ahead to remove some taxes like the COVID-19 levy, betting tax, and the E-Levy in the 2025 budget.
Well, joining me on Zoom, Manager Macroeconomic Research, GCB Bank PLC, Carriage Boutique. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us. So, just how crucial are these talks, especially after this new government has signaled it may request some changes to the IMF program and an extension probably?
Oh, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners. I think it's quite routine for each one of the budgets under program. You would have to get the IMF's input as to your projections and how that tallies with the overall expectations under the program, the targets, and how you're going to achieve that, your revenue projections, your expenditure assumptions, and all that, and then the programs and policies you are going to roll out, and how that will support or distort the overall macro balance and then the correction of the economy. Remember, the theme for the IMF for the last review has been for Ghana to stay the course on fiscal consolidation, and there are predefined parameters that need to be met in that regard. So these will likely be conversations to align. I'm sure by now the finance minister and his team would have put together some numbers, and they would have had a sense of where we are headed on the fiscal side of things now. So they'll go through those numbers, agree, disagree on issues, and then fine-tune them, ultimately in getting ready for the presentation somewhere, maybe later in March, really. So I think it's to be expected under the program. And maybe where, again, extra significance may be the promise of the current government that they would have to look at some of the program parameters and renegotiate some terms. I'm not sure if that is coming in this particular meeting we are talking about. But if it does, then it would also be expected in that you will have to fit your programs and policies into the IMF program. I mean, that program was designed by the federal government. They had clearly their programs and policies and priorities set in there, and the fiscal parameters and limitations were defined based on those. So if you are having a new direction and you are talking about revenue mobilization in different ways, you are talking about new expenditure priorities and all that, it's a matter of aligning to see what is possible, what is not possible, where to put the limits and all that, and conversations about what timelines do we need to even achieve what targets and all that. So I guess it's a routine monitoring exercise from the IMF side and a routine consultation exercise even from the Government of Ghana side to try to align on what the targets are and what programs are being rolled out and how that fits into the assumptions under the program.
Well, speak about what is possible and what is not. The government has indicated it's going to take off some taxes. We expect that announcement probably in the 2025 budget. How are they going to convince the IMF that this is the right way to go? How are they going to make up for the revenue? I mean, what do you anticipate they are going to tell the IMF?
Oh, yes, I think Akuffo set the tone during his vetting. He's talking about quality and efficiency of expenditure as opposed to, if you like, raising more revenue as in imposing new taxes and all that. If you look at the 2025 indicative budget, I mean, the three taxes that are under question will raking just around 10 billion. If you are cutting off 10 billion, the question is, how do you close the gap? What is expected growth in revenue for the year? Where is it going to come from? Where do we do the adjustments? Where does compliance enforcement come in? And he also was quite heavy on expenditure, front-loaded expenditure rationalization.
Okay.
My argument has been that the budget as it is already very rigid. We know the cost items on the budget and what percentage of our revenue consumes. So there is only a marginal room for cuts. But then the argument will be if you are doing front-loaded fiscal consolidation in what areas, and how does it jeopardize or support the fiscal consolidation and, if you like, the correction in the fiscals that we are seeing. I think those are the arguments they must make and make forcefully back with numbers to the IMF to be convincing that, yes, we can cut taxes, but yes, we can rationalize expenditure also, and then we can stay within the limits of the program. And even if there are adjustments to the timelines of the program, the overall projections to fit into those revised timelines and ultimately the targets and expectations under the program.
We've got just a minute, Courage. They're going to be talking about the debt restructuring program as well as energy sector debts. How well do you think the government has done, really, the country, I should say? I mean, the new government just assumed office.
I think the debt restructuring is almost out of the way. What is left is the commercial side of things, which I understand negotiations are underway. I think the bigger problem is the energy sector issues. You talked about ECG and then how much they are collecting. You talk about the legacy issues and all that. There has to be a way to resolve it. And I think the first step is to stop those, if you like, arrears that go to the Ministry of Finance at the end of every month out of under collection from ECG. We need to stop that. And how do we do that? Is it tariff adjustment? We need to take the bold decisions so that we stop the leak or where the bloat is coming from and then tackle now the legacy issues. I think that is the point they need to start from. There's the talk of privatization of ECG. I'm not sure that is a solution, but I think if it's a tariff issue, let's deal with the tariff issue. There are two main issues there. If you like, transmission losses and technical losses. What are the solutions to them? One of them will need a huge capital outlay, and others are just behavioral changes and enforcing compliance. We need to start from those angles, and then from there we can proceed into the weightier issues, really. But if we deal with the recurring issues in the energy sector, and then we can now focus on the structural issues, or if you like, the legacy issues, then we would have been making progress to solving the energy sector problems.
Okay. All right. Courage Buti, appreciate your time with us. Manager, Macroeconomic Research, GCB Bank, PLC, appreciate your time. Thank you. All right, you're watching The Marketplace. Still ahead, the Joy Business Advice.